Hi, and welcome to an episode of Barely Research Facts. So, if you're new here, Barely Research Facts is a facts-based show, barely, brought to you by ArtNowThus, a content, arts, and events company based here in India. The show is a trip down dissection lane of words. Every episode, the host Ragini and me, Shar, choose one word and deep dive into it. Every interesting fact we have or we can find, we research somewhat casually and bring to you, pairing it with some good humor and casual chat between two friends. We've got a Fact Pack Season 2 with the usual great facts, good chat, and we're throwing in some more guests this season, so we hope you've been keeping track of us and our episodes, and there's lots more to come. So this is the 9th episode of our second season, like I said before. This episode, we've chosen the word chill. Now, if there's anything that we, or indeed everyone in the world, needs right now, it's a chill pill. And we'll give you a precise recipe for one, straight from the most medically sound and reliable century in human history, the 1800s. While you're digesting that recipe, you might experience a hint of piloerection, common occurrence when listening to any of our episodes. Worry not, we'll explain what that means during the episode. And lastly, we go deeper into why the chillness of longtime friends of Mary Jane is frustrating anaesthetists everywhere. We hope you enjoy the episode.
Hi guys. Okay, so I'm going to jump in with our very first fact, which is about the famous chill pill.
Okay.
But so I don't know, Shah, did you ever ask someone to take a chill pill in life?
Is it actually a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I remember telling people to take a chill pill back in the day, and we thought it was very cool back in the 90s. Very, very cringe now, I feel. Like if I had to say it to someone right now, I'd just be like, oh my God. But back in the 1800s, very literal. So apparently in the late 1800s, if you told someone to take a chill pill, very literally asking them to take a pill to cure the actual chills. So
wait, so you're saying not only is there an actual chill pill, but they were using the expression in the 1800s. Wow.
Yeah. Apparently it was cool in the 1800s as well.
So, was it cool? It was cool during that short time period that we used it.
And then the 1800s.
It might be coming back. And then the 1800s.
But apparently, in Housekeeping in Old Virginia, an 1879 book of recipes and housekeeping tips compiled by 250 of Virginia's noted housewives. I don't know who would constitute a noted housewife, but apparently, okay, that was...
Hey, it was the 1800s.
Yeah.
It was, at least they were recognizing that it was a good job to have.
They were noted for it.
Required some intelligence. Yeah, it required some intelligence and expertise to conduct.
Yeah, but there was basically a section on home medicines and remedies for when doctors were not available. But, you had easy access to things like morphine just in your kitchen pantry for some reason, I imagine.
Casual.
Yeah, just there. But so in this context, chill pills were, and a remedy for the chills. And just in case anyone's interested in how you go about making this, we will put a recipe in the blog. Because I really don't know why anyone would not be interested in how to make a chill pill, honestly.
Yeah.
But, I was also interested in kind of understanding why do people aspire to be chill? Chill, for me would be a sort of descendant of the word cool, and cool I think seems to be much older in its slang use. So apparently, for a long time now, people who were called cool or cool-tempered were generally, it sort of gave you some kind of individual merit, and it has had a strong history of that. So in the 1880s and the 1890s, apparently describing somebody as a cool fish at Eton in the United Kingdom was someone who was sophisticated, worldly, and could deal with life and all the things that it threw at them with a sense of calm and cool. So
wasn't it all of them because they were rich and had
no worries at all?
Issues. Yeah. We're all cool fish.
Yeah. And in another definition of the term, it also means a cocky, self-possessed schoolboy. So,
yeah, that sounds like an Etonian.
But given that chilly and cold possibly have similar meanings in, standard English, it is kind of natural that chill became a synonym for cool. And then, oh, by the way, sorry, I have to mention this, but I found this out, and this is possibly the coolest thing I've ever known. Okay, but in the 1950s...
Wow. Great build-up.
Yeah, I'm good. Chilling the mark was criminal slang to, rid your victim of their stuff without them knowing that they've been robbed. So if I ever said I chilled the mark, and we just walk away, I cannot imagine anything cooler than that ever.
Wow. So what happened to my brother-in-law in Rome when his wallet was gone and we didn't even realize until we
Yeah.
got back to the hotel?
And you had one like robber somewhere saying, "Yeah, I chilled the mark."
In Italian.
Yeah.
Someone translate.
So, chill pill became a thing in the 80s apparently. And there is some relation to this having come about, when as information about ADHD was on the rise and people started taking medication for ADHD because generally, it was supposed to have a calming effect on people who were already in a slightly hyperactive state. By the 1990s, it was a fairly common phrase. And in the New Partridge Dictionary of Slang and Unconventional English, it's referred to as a mythical pill that will induce calm.
Mythical?
Yeah. So that's the thing. It does feel like the appeal of chill pill is less to do with the actual chill pills of the 1800s and more to do with the fact that,
no.
I think it's just got a really pleasing internal rhyme, and I think that just caught on. Everyone's like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I feel like, was there a reference to this in Kuch Kuch Hota Hai or something? Kareena Kapoor, I feel like.
Wow, you have your Bollywood knowledge so mixed up.
Well, anybody with any more Bollywood knowledge than me, which is basically everyone.
What you mean to say is Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum and Kajol and Shah Rukh's son tells her to mom, take a chill pill.
Oh yeah, see, I had the
No,
right
you had nothing
actor.
Right. You had Karan Johar, Shah Rukh Khan. That also you will remember.
Oh gosh. Okay. Sorry, I shouldn't have. This is why I shouldn't interrupt Ragini.
But okay, I'm going to now get into the science behind what has made cool and chill so ripe for slang and why is it the state that people aspire to, okay? So it seems like for a long time, there has been an association between low temperatures and generally being relaxed. So to expand on that, we go back to Hippocrates, who theorized that human moods and behaviors were influenced by 4 bodily humours, which is blood, yellow bile, black bile, and phlegm, right? And then later, a Greek physician, Galen, separated humans into 4 types of temperaments, which is again based on these humours and their associate properties of hot, cold, wet, and dry. So, sanguine people who are ruled by blood and choleric people who are ruled by yellow bile were the hot ones, and they are characterized by extroversion and being very outwardly emotional, and by melancholic black people who have more black bile and phlegmatic people who are more phlegmy, I suppose, have temperaments that are much cooler, and these are characterized by introversion and sort of being quieter. Okay, now in today's world, like if you think about it, somebody who's super outgoing and very enthu all the time and is quick to react to everything is possibly not as and versus somebody who's kind of calm and relaxed and easygoing. I think for it's just the easier thing to kind of aspire to, because you want to be like this person who just seems to have everything under control versus the hot-headed one. And I think especially when you're...
Do you think that because you and I are both more towards the hyper side,
definitely.
do you think that's what we think other people think? Because I aspire to be cool.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you think a really calm person is like, oh, I wish I was more expressive, damn it.
Yeah, maybe.
You should take an unchill
But you know
pill.
what? If you're in school and if you're a teenager, when you're already ruled by hormones, everything is oh my god, everything's everything is urgent. And then there's this one kid who's just at the back of the class and he's just not bothered.
Oh yeah, that's super hot.
Yeah.
If I was a teenager. If I was...
Okay.
I'm just going from bad to worse in this episode.
Sharu is not into 17-year-old boys. Hopefully.
I'm not. Okay, just putting it down there. No.
But I do think that is my... After all of my research for this episode, that is how I have come to the conclusion that this is why chill is so aspirational. It's why it's come into extensive slang use, and how it's gone from being a literal pill to being just a very pleasing rhyme scheme.
I like that. I like both versions. Yeah. I want this recipe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely on the blog.
Yeah, and I like that. You know what? It reminded me of this TikTok that I saw, a YouTube short that I saw about this autistic girl who's explaining why she uses certain words. So she says that I don't like being hot. I hate having hot weather really like makes me uncomfortable. So when I describe a Disney prince, because that's her frame of reference, I call the villains hot because I don't like the heat. And I like being cool and I like being in colder weather. So I call all the heroes cool.
Wow.
Like, it's so cute. Like, that's the association her brain has made, which is like, I like this, hence you are this. I do not like this, hence the villain is this. I love that. I just love that as a
Cute
little story. Right. So, Ragini, before we started recording, I made you watch a video. Do you want to explain? So, just to the video was of a talent show.
Italy's Got Talent.
It was in English speaking. Italy's Got Talent, where a lovely lady was performing, and I sent Ragini the video and wanted to get her reaction. So, do you want to just like describe quickly like how you felt when you saw the video?
We should actually recorded me watching that video, because I think my face was like incredibly expressive. I don't know how to explain it. I got ASMR feels for sure, because she starts off with like something, but it's just I don't know how to describe it. I think it's this girl who's basically making these sounds, but she's like a one-man opera, wasn't she?
Yeah,
like she was just
Oh. So she starts off with like a sort of version of throat singing.
Yeah.
I don't know if like you guys have heard it, but it's sort of a version of throat singing. And you can see the judges sort of like, it sounds almost like, yeah, it sounds almost like what the Inuit people have a particular way of breathing in and breathing out. And like, it's a very rhythmic sort of expression of like singing, a version of singing. So she does that, and you're like sort of thrown, because it's completely different to all the other acts in a traditional talent show. And then she goes into beautiful melodic like operatic singing, and that when she switched, I got the chills.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Oh God, goosebumps for sure.
Yeah. So this is a thing. Now, I'm sure everybody who has been on the internet for 5 minutes has heard of this phenomenon of like, if you listen to a particular piece of music, then you get the chills and there's a word for it, etc. Well, essentially, the experience that you're having when you listen to this music and you have a chill is called frisson. And it's a French term meaning aesthetic chills, which I love. I just love that. Aesthetic chills. And so it basically feels like a wave of pleasure running all over your skin. And it's sometimes like accompanied by paresthesia or by piloerection and mydriasis. Now, all of these terms sound really, really unnecessarily aggressive and vulgar. But piloerection is just it's the scientific term for goosebumps or goose flesh.
Oh, that makes sense.
And mydriasis has nothing to do with what you would think. Yes. It's actually just the dilation of your pupils. So continuing on in this same innocent vein, there's a guy called David Huron, who is a Canadian humanities and arts professor, and he has an interesting like cross section of like skill sets, which is he's a professor both in the School of Music as well as the Center for Cognitive and Brain Sciences. So he studies the cognitive effect of music, and so that's exactly where you need to be if you want to study this phenomenon. So essentially, some scientists have they've done a lot of research on basically like people reacting to music and particular pieces of music, and they've come up with like certain criteria. I'm not going to go into all of it, because in the past we have tried to explain sciencey things, especially to do with space, which I mean, we've done our best, but I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say it's the best. But one of the things that came up was it's basically about two main criteria, which is one is how there is a shift. So this video, we'll put it in the blog notes and you can have a look at the video yourself. But that shift from singing something that's, incomprehensible to most people to going into operatic like music, which is a lot of people understand that you need skill and talent to do it. that shift is almost required in pieces of music that cause friction. So your anticipation, the events not coinciding with what you anticipate will happen. So that shift is one thing that needs to be there. And the second thing is how immersed you are in it. So someone like me and Ragini, sorry Ragini, I'm speaking for you here, but you don't know anything about opera,
Okay.
right? Because I don't.
Safe assumption. Yes, I don't either.
Yeah. So people who are well versed or are know more about it probably have it in the reaction is more pronounced in them. So those are the two main things that you need to have for friction to occur. And sometimes you have goosebumps, sometimes you have your pupils dilate, sometimes you have full body chills, and it's like they're not mutually exclusive, but they all do contribute to this phenomenon. So I mean, isn't that super interesting?
Yeah.
That's something so like, it's not physically happening to you, but it is in a sort of way because you're imbibing it in a way that's causing a physical reaction. So they have, so when they conducted this research, they connected this quality called openness to experience to friction. So basically, most researchers have concluded that listeners were experiencing friction as a result of a deeply emotional reaction, which is obvious. In contrast, there are some results of studies that show that it's the cognitive components to openness to experience. So how well you know the music, or if you know the person is adapting it in a way that is amazing, which again, like I feel like is such an innocuous thing. Like one of the other things that causes this reaction in me is Johnny Cash's version of Hurt.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It is just...
Have you watched the Brooklyn Nine-Nine video where he takes... so it's this really funny meme, man. It's a video. We'll put it in the blog post as well. But like he basically has... he has a lineup going. And he's got them and he's got them singing. And at the end of it, he's like, literal chills, guys. Literal chills. And that's all I could think about when you were talking.
Yeah, that's completely it. Like even like with comedy, if you can, because that is the outcome being different to what you anticipated. That is that factor in there. Because I mean, obviously anybody who's seen it knows that they do a good version of the of the song. Of I want it that way, but it's not like it's anybody could react to that and just be like, oh my God, that's So this now, if you are thinking, well, this sounds familiar. If you think that this emotionally triggered response sounds familiar to something else you've experienced as a worldwide phenomenon on the internet and YouTube, it's because it sounds like ASMR.
Oh wow!
And I'm not gonna explain what ASMR is, but
you could go back to one of our previous episodes on Whisper and just that's an ASMR treat.
Good catch. And we've given you some recommendations on the blog for...
You should get ASMR Shar back for one of the episodes.
ASMR Shar. Yeah. You're now going into an episode of ArtNowThus's Barely Researched Facts. I'll stop this now because this
episode will become very long.
Yes. So I just wanted to put in a little bit about ASMR over here, which I didn't know, so I thought it was interesting to put down. But the contemporary history of ASMR apparently began in 2007 on a discussion forum for health-related subjects at a website called Steady Health. So a 21-year-old registered user who is aptly named for a 21-year-old, okay, whatever.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, okay, whatever, submitted a post describing having experienced a specific sensation since childhood, comparable to that stimulated by tracing fingers along the skin, yet often triggered by seemingly random and unrelated non-haptic events, such as watching a puppet show or being read a story. So these aren't like same to the chills or friction because it's common everyday things, it's like someone reading you a story or something like that, as opposed to the two. It doesn't fulfill the two criteria I mentioned earlier. And so the replies to this post, obviously it's the internet, so everybody can relate, that so many people came forward and said, oh, yeah, we do, like, we completely relate to that. And usually when witnessing mundane events, so like, essentially this group is the first mention of when ASMR was a thing. And this is in like 2007. So
not that long ago, actually.
Yeah, because I feel like it's only in 2015 or
kind of blew
like
up.
in the last 6 or 7 years. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the YouTube stats on some of these videos, and I feel like the low effort videos. I mean, personally speaking, not dissing any ASMR artists or ASMR artists. They're called ASMR artists.
Are you making this up or is this a thing?
No, I'm not. Okay. I promise that's a thing. So that is the story of Rishan. And in the blog notes, I'm going to put in another list of like music, basically, that should or if it doesn't give you goosebumps, that just means there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
Okay. I'm joking. I went unnecessarily aggressive in the end.
Yeah. But ASMR Shar went a bit very bad soon, huh?
This is why we need her. But yeah, so it's music that should give you goosebumps, and you can check that out. And also we'll include the Slate article that I borrowed a lot of my research from.
Before we go into the next segment, I do want to say something. Okay, so this is a little break before we go into the next segment. But if you are enjoying this episode, and I really hope that you are, this week we have a small favor to ask of you. You all know BRF is an independent podcast. We have no sponsors for right now. We love making this podcast. It's evident. And we want to keep doing it forever and ever and ever. So if you love us as much as we love doing this, I have a request, which is basically do consider supporting us through a small donation via our Instamojo link if you're in India, or our PayPal if you're abroad. You can find the links to both of these on our Instagram bio for right now, or in the show notes of this episode as well. On Instagram, we are at Barely Research Facts. If you are not able to support us monetarily, that's completely fine. We completely get it. But if you'd still like to help out, you can still do that by rating the show on leaving us a review on Spotify, iTunes, if you're listening to the show on either listening platform. But if you are able to at all contribute and help the show out, it would help us tremendously, and we'd be forever and ever grateful. So
yeah, and if we have enough supporters, we can come up with fresh content for them perhaps, or something interesting in the future. So the support is always appreciated.
And the possibilities are endless. Okay, coming back to all things chill and things that make you chill. Well, one thing that makes everybody chill, apparently, marijuana. There's a report in the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association where patients who regularly smoked marijuana required as much as 220% more anesthetic chemicals to become fully sedated. So this is a study that's been ongoing for a while about just what are the effects of regularly smoking up, and how does that impact any other drugs that you may need to take in order to get you into a sedated state. So
wow,
the study basically says is smokers generally just too chill, and do they need to not be that chill in order to take the medication? But it basically, so the dosage of chemicals like fentanyl, midazolam and propofol, I think, these are usually apparently chemicals that are used to knock people out before procedures. And for everyone who's been a regular smoker, in the study at least, the dosages for these have been much higher than people who don't smoke up. So obviously the sedatives in the study were all used legally for medical reasons. It's not like they were just like doing random test trials with people and knocking them out.
You on the street. Wow, fentanyl is isn't that horse tranquilizer? Or is that ketamine? I don't know. I feel like I don't know enough about this to comment.
Yes.
But they're really heavy. They're really heavy.
I'm assuming.
So how much more did you say? The
220% more? Higher quantities of anesthetic chemicals. To be fully sedated, to knock you out, basically. So the records analyzed 250 randomly chosen patients who went for endoscopic exams, and the procedure was used during a colonoscopy where the doctor basically inserts a camera up your bum into your intestine. It's very pleasant at a hospital in Colorado. And of the 250, 10% were people who were regularly smoking. So it's about 25 people. But in those 25 people, there was a significant pattern to the amount of sedatives that they had to use in their procedures. On an average, those patients required about 14% more of the fentanyl to get them to go to sleep. It required about 20% more of midazolam and 220.5% more of propofol to help them achieve that level of drowsiness in order for the colon examinations to happen. Yeah. Now, obviously, the study it's one study. There are certain factors that are that could be potentially biased. So it does need to I think
more research.
There has to be there is a little bit of Research still ongoing on this, but so far it does look like there is a direct correlation to the amount of marijuana someone consumes and how quickly their body then is able to react to anesthetic chemicals. Cool. So yeah. So basically, until more research is done, we can't be sure what this could mean. But yeah, there is a chance that your friendly neighborhood smoker is maybe too chill for their own good. And that's Auntie Ragini in the room.
Listen, boys.
I'm telling
Don't be smoking so much.
When you want to go for the colonoscopy, no? You'll remember my words.
You will only thank me.
Okay, I think with that we end this very pleasant segment. We hope you all learned your lesson, guys. We will see you week after next, with another episode. Before we log out though, we have revamped our popular newsletter over the last few months. We now have a newsletter called Probably Relevant that goes out twice a month. It is the coolest newsletter, and it's where you can basically hang to get a bunch of fabulous monthly doses of every interesting thing that we can scour on the internet. It's all of our research for Barely Research Facts on steroids, honestly. So you can sign up via our website. We're at www.ArtNowThus.in, or you could hit the link in our bio on Instagram. Again, we are at Barely Research Facts there. Also, drop us a follow if you don't already. Consider donating if you can. And we will see you in 2 weeks with another word and another episode. Have a good one.
See you guys.
Okay, and that was the episode. Before we sign off though, I do have a little note from our parent company ArtNowThus and their newsletter Probably Relevant. Probably Relevant is the coolest newsletter on the blog. It's where we scour for every interesting fact we can find and stuff it in there. It's filled to the brim with just the most amazing content. I highly recommend subscribing to it. But as a little teaser for why you should definitely be subscribed to it for November, this is what we have in store. This month, we're bringing some fiction to the newsletter. For the very first time, a story about an embroiderer called Ambrose who finds themselves in a rather uncanny situation. Written in verse and illustrated by Armand Chagla, the tale of the Polycosmosian brings you a weird and wonderful parable with some weird and wonderful details about embroidery, books, and architecture. So watch your inbox for the November issue of Probably Relevant. Subscribe via the link in our Instagram bio or from our website www.ArtNowThus.in. As always, this episode was edited by Mohit Chandelier. Music for the episode is by Charitha Arora. We'll see you with a brand new word in a couple of weeks. Bye!